Lost Art of Fishing Stories, written by Andrew Cox. Get your copy today. Go to Amazon and search The Lost Art of Fishing Stories. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat with the crew and a special guest. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying these podcasts? And make sure you go to the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit, so if there's any way you can help us out, it'd be much appreciated. Big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know who they are, you need to go visit. And even if you do, go back and visit again. They really are an amazing organization. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. The Marine Corps League now has veteran service officers. So if you're out there and you're looking for one, you can always go to the website, mcleague.org, search up the VSO locator, and that will put you in contact with somebody there. Or you can just dial this number, 703-207-9588, extension 299. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. Oh, man, here we are. Look at this crew that I got. Man alive, we're doing pretty good. We got some new members here as part of the crew. We'll start with the first one. This Nurse Dread over here. Oh, look at that. He forgot his mute button. He forgot how to work it. We did it again. There it is.
All right, there it is. I'm so sorry. Andrew mutes me during the intro, so I can't ruin everything, and then I trip all over myself. Yes, unfortunate Thursday to add the new nickname. Jess got it, if you could see him laughing down below. Yeah, no, happy to be here and happy to talk to our real guest, Tim Parkhurst.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to get to him here in just a minute. But before we do that, we'll check up on the rest of the crew before we get up there. But Jess, how you doing down there?
I'm doing great. Just along for the ride.
All right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. You can ride along anytime you want, man. It's kind of like a cop and a ride along, right? Nurse Dread knows all about that.
I was expecting some type of mask, but he's just not going to pull it off, I guess.
January 16th. You get that. You gotta wait.
You get on that, girl. You do that thing.
All right. And we have Jim over here, man. The ALS Warrior. He's back on. He's doing pretty good. Look at him. And anyways, well, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Lots of doctor appointments and staying busy with the Marine Corps League.
Yeah, absolutely. Staying busy with the Marine Corps League, as it should be.
Kicking ass.
Yeah, you're getting out there. You're hooking and jabbing. You're being the example, man. You're the example for anybody else out there. So thanks for what you're doing. So you're doing great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I guess it's time. I got to visit with this young man today. We had about a 2-hour conversation. But this is Tim Parkhurst. Marine veteran, retired master sergeant, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, yeah, I had to figure that one out. But yeah, so he's here and he's going to talk about the Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation. It should be a pretty cool conversation. I've talked to him before, and if you went to any of the lives recently when I was at Modern Day Marine, he was talking and he talked about it on that. But we're going to do it again officially here. So Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be on with you guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna put you in the center real quick. Switch you guys. There you go.
I better
You're
sit
front
up.
and center now. I got you. Well, why don't you? Well, first tell us a little bit about yourself, so everybody kind of has a good idea about you, and then we could jump into the foundation.
Yeah. So I'm obviously a retired Marine. Spent about 25 years in the Marine Corps. Kind of bounced around jobs over the years, but back in the early days when I was younger and better looking, I was a scout sniper with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines for just a couple of minutes. And it was probably one of the most transformative times of my life, and great experience all around. And fast forward a whole bunch of years, been retired for a while now. And I was involved with the USMC Scout Sniper Association for about 6 years. And while I was president there, we all sort of came up with this idea of, hey, there's, the Scout Snipers have been around for a long time, since World War One, but there's no memorial, to honor our fallen. And we all know somebody who was, killed in action, and, there's been a bunch. And so we thought, who else is going to take on this task of honoring our fallen? And, and the answer was probably nobody. So we took it on, and we formed a new organization that's a subsidiary of the Scout Sniper Association. It's called the Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation, but we're a separate operating entity that's we got our own tax ID number and everything. And we have a board of directors that we stood up just about 2 years ago. And so we are inextricably linked to the association, but they've got their mission in, dealing with, guys that served in the community and helping out brothers and their families, and doing the camaraderie events and shooting and all that kind of stuff, keeping guys engaged. Meanwhile, we're over here trying to raise money to build a war memorial and kind of preserve the history of Marine Scout Snipers. And so that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. Now, you're doing a lot as far as getting ready to put something together, something really big, which I'm excited for. So if you want, you can jump into that, or to kind of talk about it.
Well, so we have a couple things going on. We've obviously our plan to build this memorial is pretty well set as far as what it is we're trying to do. We've got a sculptor that we want to hire. His name is Sabin Howard. Of course, we haven't paid him yet, so he's not working for us yet. But we got to raise the money. But Sabin is pretty famous in the world of art. He's the guy that created a sculpture called the Soldier's Story, which is the centerpiece of the National World War I Memorial in Washington, D.C. So if you guys have seen that, it's that sculpture that was just unveiled. What was it, September of 2024? So about a year and a half ago. And he spent, I think, something like 9 years working on this sculpture, and it's an amazing work of art. It conveys, just the raw emotion of a guy going off to war, serving in the Great War in France, and coming, everything that entails, and then coming back to his family. It's just a very moving tribute that's long overdue, obviously. I don't know why our government didn't get around to building a World War I memorial sooner, but they finally did. And Sabin Howard was the driving force behind that thing, and but he wants to do ours. And so we're pretty happy that he wants to be a part of the team. We just got to raise the money. And our concept for the memorial is a 2-man sniper team in bronze. It'll be slightly larger than life size, And one of the figures, the observer, is going to be a World War I era Marine, and then the shooter is an Afghanistan era Marine. And so that bookends our history. We've got the origin story, and then the final deployment at Abbey Gate back in 2021,
Right.
Which was that was the last combat deployment for a Scout Sniper platoon before they did away with the program a few years ago. And
Oh wow, I didn't realize that was the last deployment. Huh.
oh yeah. So I know probably some folks in your audience aren't even aware that Marine Corps got rid of Scout Snipers 3 years ago, and it's a thing. It happened, but it's not the first time. It's actually the fourth time in our history that's happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, they had us in 1917, 1918, and then as soon as World War I was over, that was it. It just dissolved everything. And then
Why is
25
that? I'm just going to ask that question now.
I
I mean, we did the same thing with Anglo too, because we're never going to talk to jets or naval guns again, and we yin-yanged them right back again.
Yeah. I mean,
is it a break glass in case of war type event, or?
I think there's a lot of different things that go into it. There's some political things that I don't want to get into, that are at the general officer level.
Understood.
But I think the overarching theme and something that's been true for over a century is that when you say the word sniper, it instills fear, not just in our enemies, but in our leadership.
Yeah.
And, and they, quite frankly, most of our leaders don't know what to do with it because, they train the individual to a high degree to be a really good sniper or a scout sniper in our case. But they don't ever train the leaders anything about how to employ them properly. There's nothing in the chain in an officer's, training curriculum from IOC, the basic school, any of that stuff where they spend any specific amount of time training how to employ scout snipers. An infantry lieutenant comes out of the infantry officers course with a very good understanding of how to employ every weapon system that's organic to an infantry battalion,
Right.
except for a scout sniper, right? And it's something that they just sort of gloss over. And
I wonder why. That's insane. Why would they do that?
It's the least
always been that
conventional.
way.
It's the least conventional thing. It's even less conventional than small unit tactics in special forces, and that's been managed and led and deployed, and sniping has too, like you said, 4 different times when it's been geared up and ginned up. But again, it's one of those things when you have individuals that are, I think this goes specifically to the military and Marine scout sniping, but also even just law enforcement and other paramilitary type things. When you have individuals that are hyper motivated, hyper effective, and operate autonomously, that's what you build into that system, program, and individual. But then you have to let them out in the wild, and then you don't have the command and control that the average or normal leader wants, and that goes from the Marine Corps down to the patrol sergeant trying to deal with a street goon. So it's that's why these things
go south. If something goes south, they're the ones that are going to feel the brunt of it. So they're very. I imagine they're gun shy. They don't want to necessarily do anything because they don't want to get the backlash.
Well, I think.
Well, Tim, I think we came up in the same Marine Corps where it was like late 90s. The bleed over from the state platoons fed into the line platoons, and there was a lot of cross pollination between us.
Oh yeah.
So they made us better, and we tried to make them better. That's always been a unique thing about Marine Scout Snipers is that we come from the infantry. We are infantry, and when we become Scout Snipers, most of us are still in the same infantry battalion that we came from, supporting the same Marines that we served with when we were in a line platoon. And so there's a shorthand we evolved over time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the overarching structural problem for Scout Snipers, and don't want to spend a whole lot of time beating this dead horse, but the decision was made, and aye, sir. Everybody marches forward and does what they're told. But the structural issue is, you look at organizations like Recon, or you look at organizations like the Army Rangers or the Navy SEALs. What do they all have in common? Their officers go through the same training as the enlisted guys.
True.
Every damn one of them.
Yep.
Right. So there's not a company commander or a platoon commander in a Ranger battalion that hasn't been to Ranger school. Right. There's not a lieutenant or a lieutenant commander in the Navy that serves in the SEAL teams that didn't go through BUDS.
Right.
Those don't exist. Right. But you have scout snipers that, you spend 11 weeks training a guy, and the guy gets trained. And then that Marine, he comes back to a unit where he has no one over him except another guy just like him, another enlisted guy. And there's no officer leadership that has any understanding of what he just went through or the capability that he brings to the table. And so it's been like a self-licking ice cream cone for decades, where the junior guys, the sergeants, maybe staff sergeants at that level in an individual platoon, are trying to push the knowledge up the chain to, platoon commanders, company commanders, OPSOs, battalion commanders, things like that. But, if they don't have time, or if they don't want to hear it, or if they're not inclined, then, it's like pushing a boulder up a hill.
Right.
You can't make them. Because, when I was a sergeant and I was a chief scout in a platoon, I didn't have the authority to just walk into a battalion commander's office and say, "Hey, sir, you need to sit down and listen to what I got to tell you." And there were times I felt like that. There were also times when I had a battalion commander who actually cared and took the time to learn, but he was at a disadvantage because he was never given the opportunity to learn things in the context of his official officer PME, right?
Right.
Or, like expeditionary warfare school, the captain's course, the major's course, whatever. They don't learn scout sniping or anything about scout snipers and how to employ them. They understand basic infantry tactics, but they don't understand the capability that a scout sniper team brings to the table. And so, that lack of understanding and that lack of buy-in from the officer community, I think, is part of why we're gone. It kind of feeds everything else. But there are legitimate reasons for reorganization. But
Yeah.
Has the conversation ever been brought up to put the stay platoon underneath the gunner? Every battalion's got a gunner. They're the biggest advocate for infantry small arms in the battalion. And they understand it, and they can talk intelligently about it, and they have a seat at the table. So
yeah, and the gunner's the infantry weapons officer, and there's only one per battalion. He's there representing all the infantry weapons systems, not just one. So I think the idea of having a platoon commander that's in the platoon, a second lieutenant or a first lieutenant that's in the platoon, is a good idea. But I think what they've done, the way they've executed that since 2006, is they've had an intelligence officer.
Yeah, 03s,
instead of an 0302.
Yeah.
And, that guy, he comes, he stays for a year or two in that billet, and then he goes away.
Yeah.
He goes off to Intel Battalion or some joint fusion center or whatever, and he may or may not ever come back to an infantry battalion. And so that specific time that he spent with a sniper platoon is wasted on him because that experience doesn't stay in the infantry. If it was an 0302 infantry officer, well then, you give it a generation or two, and every single officer just about, would have had an opportunity at some point to have their hands on a scout sniper platoon. And
they had senior lieutenants in the mortars, the assault.
Yeah, they move them around to every other platoon. Yeah. You have infantry lieutenants that are running. Back in my day, I went to 3.5 in 1989, and I was a Dragon gunner, and our lieutenant was a Dragon missile platoon commander. But then a couple of years later, whatever, he was a line platoon commander.
But he understood dragon employment and armor systems.
Yeah.
Right. And they move around, and they move around for a reason, so that they can get, that base knowledge in all these different things. So why not throw the sniper platoon into the mix and make it an infantry platoon commander billet rather than an intel, officer?
I came up in 7th Marines, and Stay was actively employed at all times.
Oh yeah.
They were. I mean, I grew up in LAR, but we would typically drop off Stay teams along the route, and there were.
Yeah,
that's how it worked. It was in the original system.
I think throughout our history, scout snipers have been employed to great effect on the battlefield, and there's no doubt about that. I think every RCT commander and battalion commander that had scout snipers in Iraq and Afghanistan can attest to that. I guess the point that I'm making with this whole structural thing is that it could have been better. It could have been less painful, because there are officers out there, maybe not a lot, but there are enough that just don't give two shits about this other capability that's not a primary MOS, that doesn't have a real career track to it, and because they're just straight laced, ground infantry guys, they think of scout snipers as something special, and maybe by extension they think that we think we're something special, which we're not. We're no more special than any other Marine. And that was one of the things that I brought up earlier about the fact that we come from an infantry battalion. I was in a Dragons platoon, and then the next day I was in a Stay platoon, and all of our guys, when I was the chief scout and I had an opportunity to speak my mind in front of the Marines, I told them, I was like, look, if you think you're special because you're in this platoon, you think you're better than somebody else just because you're in this platoon, you're not. You're here because you have the privilege of having the job to make sure that more of them come home alive.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that, oh, hey, I'm all this in a bag of chips, and look at me. That's not the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most scout snipers don't feel like that's it. I think most scout snipers are pretty humble. I think most of them are very professional, and they're all about the job, and the job is saving Marines' lives on the battlefield. But there's just this perception in senior leadership, particularly the more senior it gets, the more prevalent the perception is that that they're a bunch of cowboys, that they think they're special but they're not, blah 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 blah. And It's like, well, okay, sir, but when were you going to provide us with some leadership? Because you don't. Quite frankly, nobody really ever provides scout snipers with any real professional leadership in their job. Now, as Marines, sure, in the daily, hey, you got your uniform on, right? You got your haircut. Okay, great. First Sergeant, Company Gunny, take care of that. But when it comes to, mentoring in your job, who is there to mentor us?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I would argue that senior leadership, especially in those platoons, because that was always the one thing as an enlisted guy watching a Stay platoon work. You guys typically had an amazing enlisted leadership that was just amazing to watch in action.
Yeah, so, I think that was generally true across the board. The problem being that there were so few, trained snipers, because of throughput and retention mainly, not throughput, but mainly retention. If you don't treat a guy like he's, you put him through an 11-week school to become a scout sniper, and clearly being a scout sniper is something special in what it brings to the table. And if you don't treat him like he's worthy of it, then what do you expect? When it comes time to re-enlist, you're going to tell him that he can't do that anymore. He's going to tell you to pound sand, and he's not going to re-enlist, and he's going to go over to the National Guard or the community, and like so many of us have.
That's exactly right. And so you're very self-deprecating by saying, yes, you're not, you're no better. And that's a factual statement, but special. Yes.
Yeah, have a special
you
skill.
need a skill set. Other things that when you do get, we get a little pushback from us who respect scout sniping, who ourselves and as kids got into the military, not just myself, but very, very good friends of mine who are in the SF community now because of scout snipers like Carlos Hathcock and stuff like that, right? Like
that book
I've
is
read
why
those
I joined
books.
the
I know
Marine Corps,
who,
man.
Yeah,
right.
that's what Tim was saying today.
I might just be an Air Force nerd, but that doesn't mean I didn't grow up using fucking pine cones as grenades and knowing who that man is, or Audie Murphy. I'm a Marine trapped in a Air Force nerd's body, baby. Like so yes, like the these issues, but you do like there is some respect and gravitas that needs to be added to that scout sniper designation, and that's earned by not just you, but the people who came before you, the people coming after you, this entire community, and what you stand for with this foundation. And obviously, like we've kind of all been talking around is senior leadership not understanding it, fearing what they don't understand, and fearing what they can't control. Just hindering the growth and expansion and utilization of that is just it's heartbreaking. And that's something I'm just kind of learning now, that this is again going the way of the dodo until, like Jesse put, the next major conflict. So I just
when World War II came around, they brought us back, and then they got rid of us at the end of the war. They never did bring us back for Korea. The units maintained whatever snipers they had who were left over from World War II. And tried to do some training in the field, but it was not a formal program during Korea. And then, of course, they came back in Vietnam, and then in 1972, they got rid of the program again. And then in 1977, Carlos Hathcock and Jim Land and all them, and, Captain Jim, Jack Cuddy, and, a bunch of others, came together to form the modern program that I'm a product of, and everybody that's serving today that had the privilege of going through the course is a product of that modern program that lasted all the way up until 2023. But yeah,
it's a casualty of. Is it a casualty of Ukraine? I think that's the thing that we've been talking about in our local attachment, because armor left, assault left, stay left, and these are all things that Ukraine has kind of changed the game enough to maybe say that it's more sensors and UAV based. I think that's one of the reasons we kind of looked at. And
so
we're alumni looking in. So
no, that's a great question. I think, my personal opinion, this is just Tim's opinion, and I was on the outside looking in because I was already retired by then, but I was very, very tied in, as at the time I was president of the Scout Sniper Association, and we were going to all the graduations of Scout Sniper School and things like that. Talking to the Marines that are on active duty and all that. What the Scout Sniper schools were doing at SOI East and SOI West at Lejeune and Pendleton, before the Marine Corps ever bought a FPV drone, before we ever had a single one in the inventory, they had this UAS course that was being run at SOI, and it fell under the Advanced Infantry Training Battalion. Well, guess who else falls under Advanced Infantry Training Battalion? Scout Sniper School.
Yeah. So
the same battalion commander on both coasts owns both of those schools. Both of them at the time were prescient enough, they were forward thinking enough to say, you know what, why don't we have our Scout Snipers, because they operate forward, in small teams. Why don't we have them train with our UAS operators during the course so they can learn this new technology, right? So they were both doing that on both coasts. So when it came time, and somebody, in the Marine Corps decided that, hey, the Marine Corps needs to make a big push for drones, like all kinds of drones, right? Then, who would have been better suited to utilize and employ those things in the field?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got the big drones, right? Those are somebody can sit back in the rear with the goggles on and watch those things go miles and miles away, hundreds of miles away in some cases, whatever. But the little tactical drones, right, the kind that you see being used in Ukraine, those things have limited range. They would be used by frontline troops. Well, which frontline troops do you think are better suited to use them? Your average grunt that's never done anything other than be an average grunt, or a guy who is already a trained scout sniper and knows how to infiltrate and knows the things to think about when infiltrating and trying to prevent yourself from being observed by the enemy, and who has also rubbed elbows with the UAS students at SOI, and understands how a drone is used.
Well, I think, Tim, the big thing is, like, we talk about scout and sniper as like it's all shooting. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't realize is how much reporting scout snipers did. The RNS teams for us, and they painted the picture, and we got great photos from every time we did an RNS package. When we insert the RNS teams, stay was just, they were mostly reporting. Yeah. If they ever took a shot, it was amazing for us because they would sit in a hide and they would report and they paint us a picture. So when we did the direct action, we pull a direct action, or we pull a long range helo raid or an amphib, we knew exactly what to expect. We knew patterns of life. I mean, it was all the reporting that was going on. Yeah. So having that added element of a UAS or some type of FPV would have been amazing. It just, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, brother.
No, that's awesome.
It's just confusing to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's confusing to a lot of us, but like the previous times, we feel like we'll be back again. It might look a little different, whatever, but that's fine. It's just part of the evolution. The Marine Corps has to learn its lessons, and
that's true.
Well, we haven't done it yet.
A lot of experimentation going on here in the last few years. Former Commandant Berger was big on experimentation, and I think that's great. And I think if real lessons were learned from that, and those lessons say that maybe a sniper platoon isn't the best way to organize, okay, fine. But I think it's a mistake to say that the capability of a scout sniper is no longer useful. I think maybe it's an organizational and a structural thing more than it is a capability thing. But anyway, talk about the word scout and the word sniper, and we're really the only branch of service. The United States Marine Corps is really the only branch of service that routinely refers to our snipers as scout snipers. Every military has scouts, every military has snipers, but we're the only ones that have scout snipers, right?
That's interesting.
Up until a few years ago. Yeah. But that's not a new thing. That's not a Carlos Hathcock thing. That goes all the way back to 1918. And we had a formal school at Quantico, Virginia in 1918 called Scout Sniper School. And there was a major who was the OIC of that school. There was at least one or two captains, a couple of lieutenants, 2 or 3 lieutenants, and probably half a dozen or more enlisted instructors that were all sergeants and above. And it was a robust school. Yeah. And in the Marine Corps' own history of World War I, it says that they trained 450 Marines as scout snipers in that school in 1918 alone.
Wow.
And that doesn't even include the guys who were already over in France. So in 1918, the 4th Marine Brigade was already in France. Right. So 5th Marines, 6th Marines, they were already over in 1917. And so, people say, well, Tim, what about that? If all these guys were getting trained in 1918 and 4th Marine Brigade was already overseas, did any scout snipers serve in combat? And the answer is yes. They just didn't happen to go through the school. Our allies, the French and the Brits and the Canadians, ran
especially the Canadians
sniper schools for us. The British 4th Army ran a scouting, sniping, and observation course in the field in France.
Wow!
In late 1917, that Americans were going to, and we in our research for the memorial, we've uncovered documentation. There's actually a letter from the command staff of General Blackjack Pershing, who was the Army general in charge of all the American Expeditionary Force. From his office to the commanding officer of 5th Marine Regiment, telling him to give up 90 of his sniper rifles to this school that the British Fourth Army was running for us. And, so that was in October of 1917. And we know that there were multiple courses after that. So that was just the beginning of the training. And then, of course, the guys in the 4th Marine Brigade didn't really see any action until April of 1918 at Verdun. And then, later in the summer was Belleau Wood and then on from there. But we know of a bunch of scout snipers who were just either given training in the field or they were just given the duty. Hey, you're a scout sniper now. Here's your rifle. Here's the equipment. And we know that they were given all this equipment and they were specifically assigned the job because in January of 1918, Blackjack Pershing, again, commander of the whole AEF, he issued an order to the whole force. And he said every infantry formation in the American Expeditionary Force is to have 8 snipers per company from now on. And he specified that those snipers are not to be organized separately, that they're to be in the company and to answer to the company commander like everybody else in the company, right? And so we know that from starting in January of 1918, that every single company that served in France had 8 snipers in it. And we know that they were calling them scout snipers. And so that term we actually got from the Canadians. Hang on, I'm going to go off camera for a second because this is.
Hey, you're good. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. It's definitely an interesting thing that, that really took place and how it all evolved.
Yeah, I just had to pull this book off my bookshelf. So this book was published in the United States in 1918 in a hardcover.
Oh, wow.
All right, but you can actually get this softcover version today. I just got this off Amazon about 6 months ago. And we figured out who Periscope was, the guy that wrote this. It turns out he's a Canadian lieutenant colonel by the name of Pete Anderson. And Pete Anderson was captured by the Germans at Ypres in 1915. And Pete wrote himself another book that was a memoir after the war. So he wrote this during the war, and then he wrote his memoir after the war. And in his memoir, there's like 3 or 4 different chapters in the book where he talks extensively about scouts, sniping, sniper scouts, whatever. You kind of mix and match of the terminology. But he talks extensively about it. And when he got to France, he was with one of the first Canadian militia units that was activated and sent over to France for the war in 1914. So he was over there at the very beginning. And when he saw what the Germans were doing and the Canadians fell in on the British formations that were getting picked apart by German snipers, that he immediately, was like, hey, I mean, we gotta form snipers of our own. We gotta, put together this capability somehow. And that textbook, there's a hardcover version of this that has a United States Marine sergeant by the name of Sergeant Leslie LaValle owned a copy of it, and that copy is in the Marine Corps archive right now, along with his journal. And he was an instructor at Scout Sniper School in 1918, and he was using that book as a textbook.
No kidding! Wow.
Yeah. And there's a guy in a graduation photo that we have. Those old panoramic photos, black and white pictures of graduations from like 100 years ago.
Right.
And they're all black and white. And you got rows of people sitting there getting their photo taken. There's a picture like that of a graduating class of Scout Snipers. And the photo was taken on November 13th, 1918, which is 2 days after the war ended. But it was the last graduating class of Scout Snipers before they shut the program down. And in the middle of the picture, sitting right next to the Marine officer in charge, there's this guy wearing a uniform that looks like a Scottish Highlander kind of outfit, right? Had the funny little hat and had the tartan sash and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And his name was Captain M.M. Marsden of the Canadian Army. And guess what? He and Pete Anderson served in the same regiment. They were with the Western Scots out of Vancouver, British Columbia.
Wow.
And they both deployed over to France at the same time. And M.M. Marsden was a trained sniper, and he got wounded in the left eye in 1916. And of course, if you're half blind, you can't stay and fight the war. So they sent him back to England, and they sent him back to Canada. And then in 1918, the Canadians sent 4 of their officers down to Quantico to help the Marines get ready. And he ended up being our senior instructor at Scout Sniper School. So there's this real close relationship between us, Marines, and the Canadians. And because they both wrote about scout snipers, we're pretty sure that the term scout sniping or scout snipers came from the Canadians, from those 2 guys and others, But that's kind of how it all started. And our whole goal at the Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation is to remember the sacrifice and honor the legacy of that more than a century of service that Scout Snipers have given to the Marine Corps. So
now do you find because that's a very unique community, do you find when you're trying to raise funds for it and things like that it's difficult?
Well, yeah, it's difficult because nobody knows who we are as an organization, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we're a very small nonprofit. Everybody on our board, like me, is a former Marine who served as a Scout Sniper. We have one guy who's a former Marine who's not a Scout Sniper, but everybody else is. And we're all volunteers. There's nobody paid, and we're just trying to do this grassroots. And it's very difficult for a new organization that nobody knows about, to get the word out and to gain enough of a following. To bring in those kind of donations, and man, I'm just an old dumb grunt. I don't know a bunch of rich people. I don't know a bunch of real well-connected folks or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that's why, coming on a podcast like this and talking to you guys is always awesome because, all of you guys know somebody that I don't, right?
Yeah.
And so that helps the cause right there. But
yeah. Got to spread the message, spread the love, you got to let people know. So,
yeah.
Tim, have you reached out and talked to anybody from NTOA, the National Attack Officers Association, or any other state type SWAT organizations? Because I
have not.
I was a SWAT guy.
Would you like to do that for me?
I'll poke around. I know some Wastoa people here in Washington. I'm out of the biz because I am blind in my left eye and out of the war on crime, but just as I'm
that you're calling yourself Nurse Dredd, so
well, I'm about to be a real nurse, so
yeah, he's getting ready to graduate as a nurse here.
Tim, I'm transitioning, buddy, but don't hold that against me. I used to be a big deal around Whatcom County, but no, that being said, amazing history lesson. And then, but just letting you know that these tactics and these things, just lessons learned from the 1915 to today are still used, implemented, trained with SWAT sniping, just different, obviously, laws, op orders, and things like that. And I think that's just a community that might be, definitely has benefited from Marine Scout sniping. And so, I'll reach out to Wastoa and then, reach out to you through Andrew and stuff like that. But just, yes, again, spreading the word and because,
no, that's awesome. And we're friends with Brian Sane over at AmericanSnipers.org. He's law enforcement snipers, obviously. They've got some good reach. But I know there's tons of organizations out there that, we probably could connect with if we knew who to talk to, state level organizations and national level organizations for different specific specialties and things like that. But we'd love to connect with everybody. Half the Marine snipers that didn't stay in past their first tour, if they didn't go to SF in the Army or on the National Guard side, they probably went to the Navy SEALs. If they didn't do that, they probably went to the Army Rangers. If they didn't do that, then they're probably in law enforcement somewhere, and
Yeah.
and so there's so many, former scout snipers that are out there, in the wild, doing different things with their skills now. We would just like to connect with more of them, because there's a lot of scout snipers that heck, the Scout Sniper Association has been around since 1998, and there's a lot of guys that don't even know there's an association for them.
Wow. Yeah.
There's a lot of Marines that don't know there's Marine Corps League either, so it's a common theme right now.
Yeah, it's crazy how people put their head down and they don't, they get blinders on and they don't really see what's going on in the world around them. And we would love for guys, if they ever served in a Scout Sniper platoon or graduated the course, go to scoutsniper.org and join and become a member of your association, And if you have a desire to honor your brothers who gave their last full measure, then come over to scoutsniperheritage.org and see what we're doing with the Scout Sniper War Memorial. But yeah, it's just all about getting the word out. We figure.
Where are you going to place it? Where's that going to be placed at?
Yeah. I'll just kind of run through all the specs on this thing. So like I said, it's going to be a 2-man sniper team in bronze, bookending our history with the World War I and the Afghanistan era guy. Sabin Howard is going to be our sculptor once we hire him. And we've already got a spot picked out at the Semper Fidelis Memorial Park, which is right outside the National Museum of the Marine Corps at Quantico. So not only is it our national museum, but it's also the birthplace of Scout Snipers back in 1918.
Yeah. So that's cool.
But yeah, it's a great place, and that memorial park's beautiful. Have you guys been there?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah,
they just opened up a new section of the memorial park May of last year, I think it was, and kind of extended the trail, going off through the woods. And so there's a specific site that we like that's all the way at the end of the road, at the end of the trail, and it's kind of on the highest point of elevation as well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a nice little overwatch position.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's fitting for what you're trying to do there. So that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, if somebody wants to join the organization, scoutsniper.org.
If they want to join the Scout Sniper Association, if you're a Scout Sniper or you ever served in a platoon, if you're one of us, then yes, you can join the Scout Sniper Association to be a member.
And that's through scoutsniper.org.
Scoutsniper.org. Yep.
Okay. And then the scoutsniperheritage.org is your organization that we're kind of talking about tonight.
Yes, that's right. Yep. So the one is the membership organization that takes care of its own and does the camaraderie events and do shooting events. They have a shooting team, some cool things going on with that. But we're the ones that are doing the memorial and preserving the history at scoutsniperheritage.org. And if you type in Scout Sniper Heritage in any of the social media platforms, you'll find us. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And we also got a YouTube channel that we're trying to put some more stuff on. A little slow going, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Well, I can give you content, man. I got plenty of content. We'll just push all this stuff over to you.
Yeah.
If you want to put it on your channel, we can do it.
Oh yeah. Well, you asked me a minute ago if if we had something big going on. We actually do. We got we're not that far. We're about $200,000 from being able to hire our sculptor, right? And I think we can get there by the end of the year. But we got to get more people to participate in these things that we've got going on. We have three active fundraisers at the moment. One is we have a raffle, which is super easy. You can just go on the website, you'll find it. We're raffling off an African safari that's for anywhere from 1 to 8 people. So you can either go by yourself or you can bring 7 of your best friends with you.
Nice.
And that's it's an South African safari, but it's guided by American guides based out of Texas. So really good outfit that does that. The other prize, there's 2 prizes for the same raffle. The other one is an M1 Garand rifle.
There you go.
So it's a CMP special. So it's been rebuilt. It has a brand new Criterion barrel and brand new wood. And it's a really nice rifle. So So those are the two prizes for the raffle. $20 a ticket, hard to beat. And then the other two things, though, is, I mentioned earlier that, I don't know a bunch of rich people. I don't know a lot of folks that are willing to stroke a big check and get us over the finish line anytime soon. So we kind of decided a while back that, we probably need to create something that is interesting, unique, collectible, whatever, that people would like, that will help us raise money. And so we got a couple of things. We have this. This you can find on our website. It's got the memorial concept right there, and our logo. On the other side, it has our slogan: "Remember the sacrifice and honor the legacy." And you can see here that it's serialized, individually serialized. If you look closely, this thing even has the Lake City head stamp on it. What it is we took an actual military sniper cartridge, the M118 long range 7.62 millimeter cartridge.
Yeah.
And we laser scanned it, and we built the CAD off of that. And obviously, this is much bigger than a 7.62. You're thinking, oh, that's a 50 cal or a 20 mil or something. Like, no, it's a 7.62, but we just blew it up 4 times the size.
Yeah.
So that it
there was a reason.
So that it would hold exactly one shot of your favorite beverage, right? So this is a flask.
One shot, one kill. I like it.
One shot, one kill. Exactly. So
TSA is going to collect them like nobody's business. They're going to lose their mind on that.
Yeah, this thing's great, dude. $99.95 on our website. You can get them right now. I got boxes and boxes of them sitting over here. I need to get them out the door. So let people know.
Don't fly with them. Don't fly with them,
don't
man.
Fly with it. But look at that. So the M118 cartridge, even it had the still has, because they're still using it. It's got the Sierra Match King 175 grain open tip. So we even machined the open tip into it, and like I said, it's got the Lake City head stamp on there and everything, and the primer. Everything is absolutely correct. It's just blown up 4 times the size to hold a shot. So there's that, and now
that's $99 on the website. You can get it.
$99.95. Yep. So the really cool thing, and I'm wiping it here because I got fingerprints all over it because people have been handling it. This is a little pricier, but you saw this at Monterey Marine.
That is awesome.
On the table. So this is an M40A6 sniper rifle in a liquor decanter. So this is a liquor decanter, and it has our logo on the bottom there. On the back side, it'll be engraved, limited edition with the serial number. On the top, there's the memorial logo that has the silhouette image of the Scout Sniper War Memorial. And you're like, well, what the heck does this thing do, right? So it's a bottle. It has a rifle in it, and if you unscrew the suppressor, that's your pour spout.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it comes with this whole kit. I don't have room to pick it all up, but it comes in a Pelican style case with custom cut foam. It's got a custom funnel that screws onto the mouth of the bottle to refill. It comes with a custom wrench to be able to take it down for cleaning and put it back together. It comes with a custom coin, some pin badges, like lapel pins. One is of the rifle. One is, the memorial logo and stuff like that. And, it's got a stainless steel badge on the outside of the hard case that has our logo on there. It'll come with a certificate of authenticity signed by me, the president, and the guy who makes these amazing things. I got to tell you a little bit about him. So if you guys like cool stuff like this, he also made this, right?
Okay.
So his name is Andy Petherick, and he owns a company called Hotspur in the UK. So he's a British guy, but he's not just any old British guy. He's a British SAS guy. And,
nice.
Patty Main, who was one of the founders of the SAS back in the day, his motto was "Crazy is our business." Well, so Andy kind of took that along with him into the actual business world, and he says crazy is his business. And when I came to him and asked him if he could put a Marine Corps sniper rifle into a bottle, he's like, "Oh, that's pretty crazy, mate." And he's like, I'll do it. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So he's created this thing for us. It's pretty awesome. But let me just tell you, the importance of this thing isn't that it's cool and that it's unique and that there will never be anything like it ever again. Because we laser scanned an actual M48-6 rifle to build the CAD to put in this thing. Nobody else really has the access to do that. Those rifles aren't even in service anymore. They're all down in Albany in a warehouse. But anyway, the point being that this is all for a purpose. And if we sell all of those decanters and the flasks, we'll have raised a profit of over $500,000.
Wow.
And that will enable us to do two things. One, we can hire Saban Howard, our sculptor, and he can start putting his fingers in clay and start working for us. And two, we'll have enough money also to pay for the piece of ground that the memorial will sit on at the National Museum of the Marine Corps. So two huge milestones for us in getting the memorial going can be paid for just if people just simply buy these decanters and these flasks. So that's why we have them out here. And
the museum's charging for space.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, everybody that has a memorial there at the Semper Fidelis Memorial Park pays a fee for the
even like all the bricks that are out there, everything, right?
Yeah. You buy the bricks, So in their defense, it's number one, it's expensive to run a place like that, but and they're a nonprofit too, and they run the museum and all that. But the beauty of it for us is, and the reason that it's worth it for us to pay the money to buy the piece of ground is because that ground, because it's federal land, and these are basically considered war memorials. All the memorials in the park have to do with the Marine Corps, and so they're all considered war memorials. And under the American Battlefields and Monuments Act, that applies to this ground.
Oh wow!
Because it was Marine Corps property. When they built the museum, it was a public-private partnership between the Marine Corps and the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation, and the Marine Corps part of it was to give the land, right? And so along with that comes the American Battlefields and Monuments Act, which says that, if you're going to have a memorial park, you're required to, there has to be an endowment to maintain those things in perpetuity. So part of the money that we pay goes into this endowment. And then the Marine Corps Heritage Foundation, that has a pretty nice size endowment, is legally required to maintain our monument for forever. So that means we don't have to. Right. So if some kid climbs up on it and breaks it, or if a tree falls on it, or if it's struck by lightning, or if it just, gets dirty and needs to be cleaned, they take care of all that for forever. And so that's invaluable to us. It's one of the other reasons why that location is really ideal for us. So I know it sounds bad to say that they're charging us money for the site, but there's a legitimate reason behind it, and it's a good.
I just had to say it out loud. I'm a
Gov
guy. So
Marines
I'm a
are
Gov guy.
Marines are charging Marines. Yeah. So
I just wanted the explanation for the record. That's all I was going to say.
There you go. You got it. So that's the plan, man. We're trying to build this thing. One of the things that we've discovered is when we first started formally working towards building a memorial. And decided that, hey, we're going to do it. We don't know how, but we're going to do it. One of the first questions that all the guys started asking was, hey, who's got the list of guys who were killed in action, scout snipers who were killed in action?
Right.
It's like, oh, that's a good question, And so the short answer is that the casualty list for every war is out there. And like I can go back and I can look up online a casualty list for World War I or World War II or whatever. But the problem is those lists don't say, well, this guy's a scout sniper. This guy's not. Right? Don't say. Every scout sniper has been an infantryman assigned to an infantry battalion, right? Or an infantry regiment. And, there's not necessarily anything, in the normal record of that Marine that says that he served as a scout sniper. And so, without already knowing his name, how do you know? Well, Manpower and Reserve Affairs never kept track. They have digital records going back just as far as the digital age, but that doesn't go back very far. And they could look up the 0317 MOS and the 8541 MOS going back, 8541 goes back to 1966. I guess they could look that up. I don't know how complete that would be, but that would be a special project for Manpower and Reserve Affairs to do at our request. And we're working on it, but so far that hasn't happened. But then you go back any further than that, and it's just all, you just have to dig. You just literally have to dig. So we got an Ancestry.com account, and we're going through muster rolls from World War II and Korea, looking to see if there's any mention in a muster roll of somebody being a scout sniper. Right. Same thing with World War I, and we found a tremendous number of guys. We've got over 3,000 names on our main roster that we're building. That's not who's killed in action. That's just people who served as scout snipers. So going back over a century, so far we've got about 3,000. Wow. We think there's probably more like 4,000 to 5,000 total, because we still have probably that many left to uncover. But out of those, if you look at the size of our active duty population, right? Right. What MOS were you guys? Give me another MOS besides infantry. Anybody something else?
511. 0311. I was 0313 and 0511.
0511. Okay, so that's a pretty small MOS. How many people were in that MOS? Do you remember?
Less than 200 at a time, I think.
Okay, but that was not that was a feeder MOS, right? You fed into a different MOS, did you?
Nope, I was MAGTAC planner.
Okay.
And then they started off as LAR, but LAR is 0313. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Now, you were there when they stood it up, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we moved over from 9919. It's the whole Hawk field, and we broke off in the 05 with civil affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a weird one. Kind of get back to the point. So small MOSs in the Marine Corps. You look at recon. Recon's a small community, but there's a couple thousand of them. You look at Marine Raiders. There's a couple thousand of them. You look at the Navy SEALs. There's probably about 4,500, maybe 5,000 of them. Guys wearing tridents right now. In the Marine Corps, for scout snipers, at any time in our history, there were only maybe 300 or 400 scout snipers.
Wow.
So that's like less than 10% of the Navy SEAL population.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy cow.
We've lost over 200 Marines over the years, and we're still counting. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big number. That's like half our active duty population that we've lost over the years. And it's not a contest, man. I mean, every serviceman killed in combat is a terrible loss. But it's just, people look at scout snipers sometimes and they're like, yeah, whatever, they're part of the infantry. Yeah, we are, but we're also kind of, we're a little different, and everywhere the infantry goes, we go, and we're the tippy tip of the spear. And oftentimes, we're out there doing things that your average grunt isn't doing. And, just look at
it's also an innovation sector. And I think that's what I just keep coming back to innovation that the state always pushed. I think the story that always stuck with me was Afghanistan, Leatherneck. There was a part where they couldn't establish PID through their scopes. And they teamed up with tanks, another casualty here, to establish PID before they could engage. It was like they built a system to do the job. And it's just constant innovation.
Yeah, because the tanks had incredible thermal imagery. So yeah. No, it's but the point is that that for such a small community to have suffered such a high percentage of losses, it's a lot, right? I don't know of any active duty community out there that has suffered half of their active duty population in killed in action. I don't know of any. Right? That's a lot. You know, if you took infantrymen as a whole, if we had lost half of every Marine infantryman ever, I mean, that's a bunch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I you know, it's just you know, we got a lot of teammates who are still grieving the loss of their brothers. We've got a lot of families who are grieving the loss of their loved ones, and we figured it was time, you know, to provide them with that touchstone where they can go and they can put their hands on and they can look at and see a memorial that reflects their son, their brother, their daughter, you know, their father, their uncle, whatever service as a Marine Scout sniper. And so that's what we're aiming to do, to remember that sacrifice and honor the legacy. We know that we have at least 3 Medal of Honor recipients who were Scout snipers. 2 of the 3 were posthumous. One was Corporal John Henry Pruitt in World War I. He was actually the first Medal of Honor recipient who was a military sniper in American history. So Army, Marines, whatever. He's the first sniper in the American military to earn the Medal of Honor. We have dozens and dozens of Navy Cross recipients. Many more dozens of Silver Star, Bronze Star recipients. Just tons of them. I got a cool story about a guy. You guys like stories? You want to hear?
Oh yeah, man, hit us up. We love stories.
All right. So I got a story about a guy, and then I got a story about a unit. And yeah. So the guy is somebody you've probably never heard of, and his name is Walter Cook. Now Walter Cook joined the Army back in the early 1900s, before World War I, right? So he was in the Army, and he served along the Mexican border and did that whole skirmish there with the Army and everything. He did his time, and he got out, right? And then 1917 rolls around, America declares war on Germany, and we jump into the fight, and he joins the Marine Corps. And he goes over with 6th Marine Regiment, right? So he's a private, right? Even though he did his Army time, he still comes in the Marine Corps as a private. And, you know, the Marine Corps just never really cared much about prior service from another service. And,
Still today.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it doesn't matter, whatever. And so he goes over with 6 Marines, and Walter Cook comes back home at the end of his year and a half or whatever it was in France as a gunnery sergeant with a Navy Cross, an Army Distinguished Service Cross, 5 Silver Stars. I think it's 3 Purple Hearts, including getting gassed, and I think it's 3 palms on his Croix de Guerre, which is the French equivalent of the Medal of Honor or whatever. You know, so Croix de Guerre is like the French Fourragère the 5th and 6th Marines wear. The Croix de Guerre is the personal award of that, right? Him getting a Croix de Guerre is why when I was in 5th Marines we got to wear the French Fourragère, right?
I see.
Yeah, and so he gets all these high awards, you know, 2 Service Crosses, 5 Silver Stars, you know, multiple Purple Hearts, Croix de Guerres, the whole 9 yards. And he comes home a gunnery sergeant after a year and a half. Well, then he gets out of the service. And then he decides, you know what? I want to go to sea. I want to be a merchant seaman. So he joins the merchant marine or whatever, whatever it's called back in those days. And guess where he is in December of 1941? He's on a ship, a U.S. Navy supply ship in the South Pacific. It gets torpedoed by 2 Japanese ships. He ends up in the water, and he ends up a prisoner of war of the Japanese until 1945, I think. He was finally released.
Cow.
And he survives. You know, I mean, here he is. He does all this amazing, valorous stuff in the Great War.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who he is. But then he goes off and gets his ship blown out from under him in World War II, you know, 25 years later, and ends up a POW for years. And, you know, he gets out, and he goes, as soon as he gets released, he goes right back to working on a ship.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He
That
went,
money, son.
he went to work on an Ohio class battleship right after that, as soon as he got released. And anyway, as soon as the war's over, he ends up retiring early because of his health. You know, I mean, the guy got gassed in World War I. His lungs are trash.
Right.
And all the mistreatment from being a POW. He ends up dying. I think he died at the age of 63 or something like that, or 65.
Wow.
But anyway,
that's
a kind of a cool story about a guy that you probably never heard of.
Yeah.
That, you know, when we talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, this is one of those guys, right?
Yeah,
this is, you know, Walter Cook was a giant. I mean, 2 service crosses and 5 silver stars, and you know.
I'm assuming there's a book or something about him.
There is not.
There's not.
There's gonna be.
Nope.
There's gonna be.
Are you writing it?
We're gonna write it. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But
okay.
The second story is about a unit. So when the Scout Sniper program begins to come back for World War II, different units are already training snipers at the unit level in 1941 before Pearl Harbor even happens. So we have a Leatherneck magazine article from October 1941. You know, that's 2 months before Pearl Harbor. And it talks about a Chief Gunner, Henry Pearson Crow, running a scout sniper school at 8th Marines out at Camp Elliott, California, which would later become Camp Pendleton, right?
Right.
And so this school at Camp Elliott is the same school that the actor Lee Marvin went to. So that's another story. But Lee Marvin actually is a school trained sniper. We found it in his record, and he went to the school at Camp Elliott. But he was with 24th Marines, and but anyway, so this school was already functioning, but it wasn't an official Marine Corps school. And then it was during the year 1942, while Guadalcanal was happening. And, you know, Guadalcanal was a big slugfest. It lasted for months. They called it Starvation Island, right, for a reason. Because, you know, the Navy had challenges of its own, and the Navy wasn't able to stick around and keep resupplying the Marines ashore like they should. They had to go and fight for their own lives. And they left the Marines on the island basically starving for months. And, you know, fighting the Japanese. And so we were learning a lot of lessons on Guadalcanal. And at the same time, there were discussions being had back in the States. And this fleet training center at Camp Elliott and the other one on the East Coast at New River, North Carolina, which became Camp Lejeune, right? They were talking about, you know, hey, the Commandant of the Marine Corps is asking, hey, how do we start a sniper program? And he appointed a panel of 3 captains. There was, Captain Van Orden, Captain Walter Walsh, and Captain, I want to say it was Stevens. I can't remember the third guy's name, but this three captain panel during, you know, the latter half of 1942 basically put together what they thought a sniper program should look like. Like this is where they should be in a unit, right? You know, there should be a platoon at the regiment. That's what they decided. There should be this many guys in it. They should be equipped this way. This is what the school should look like. It should be this many days long, and this is what the training syllabus looks like. And this the whole thing. And it was, you know, a multi-page document that they submitted to Headquarters Marine Corps, and the Commandant approved it. He approved the whole thing. The only thing that he changed was the length of the school. Cut it from like 34 days down to just a couple weeks. And of course, you know, being wartime. So, so they formalized it, and that official Marine Corps school actually started in January of 1943 on both coasts, right? So 2 schools running at the same time. And anyway, so I say all that because, you know, Guadalcanal is already going on. So 2nd Marine Division and 1st Marine Division were already over in Guadalcanal. So 2nd Marines was on Guadalcanal. And within 2nd Marines, there was a young man by the name of Sergeant William Hawkins. And I'm gonna show you a picture of him.
All right.
And this picture has never seen the light of day. It's never been published. But that that photograph, you see the guy in the middle wearing the Smokey Bear hat,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got sergeant chevrons.
Mm-hmm.
That's William Dean Hawkins.
Okay.
Right. So this photograph was donated to the Marine Corps Archive in 1983 by a guy who's in the photo.
Oh,
and
wow.
He identified most of the guys in the picture. The reason William Hawkins is important is because he later became Lieutenant William Dean Hawkins. Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Like a Medal of Honor recipient?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him, right?
No kidding.
So this is him on Tulagi, which is, just prior to the Guadalcanal campaign at the early stages of Guadalcanal. And he was with 2nd Marines Intel Section, and he earned a battlefield commission during Guadalcanal.
No
and
kidding.
Then, after the battle, the whole 2nd Marine Division, 1st Marine Division, they all went to Australia and New Zealand to rest and refit, right? That's why we have the Southern Cross on our division patches.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The constellation.
And Matildas are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where that history comes from. And but while they were there on New Zealand, William Hawkins pins on his lieutenant bars and gets a photo taken in his service alphas, and that's the only photo of him as a lieutenant that you can really identify him. And that's the picture everybody sees of him.
Yeah.
But so he went from Guadalcanal to New Zealand, and while he was on New Zealand, as soon as they pinned on his lieutenant bars, they said, "Hey, man, you're going to be a scout sniper platoon commander for the regiment. And oh, by the way, you get to pick all your guys. You have your pick of men from within the regiment, and you're going to train them." Well, it turns out that he had actually graduated from that scout sniper course at Camp Elliott that Chief Gunner Pearson Crow was running. Yeah. So we think that the school was more of a division effort. It wasn't just 8th Marines. It might have been guys from 8th Marines that were attending at the time that Leatherneck article was written back in 1941. But, you had guys from 2nd Marines that attended. You had guys from 8th Marines that attended. So that kind of speaks to it being like a division level school.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that Lee Marvin went, and he was from 24th Marines.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, fast forward a few months on New Zealand, and William Hawkins had trained up his guys, turned them into, stone cold killers or whatever. And they go to Tarawa. That was the next big battle, right? 1943.
Right.
And on Tarawa, the 2nd Marines Scout Sniper Platoon was the actual lead element for the entire assault on the island. So before the first, infantry guys could land on the beach, they had to take the pier. You guys remember hearing about BDO Pier?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So BDO Pier was like this 300-yard long pier that jutted out into the ocean. And that pier had to be taken down because that pier had all these pillboxes and bunkers on it that were providing, strafing fire right down the length of the beach. And they would just wipe out every Marine that got off an Amtrak, if they didn't take the pier out.
Right.
And so that 2nd Marine Regiment Scout Sniper Platoon landed on BDO Pier, along with some flamethrower guys and, some combat engineers, with lots of demo and stuff like that. And they took that pier. And in this, the whole battle of Tarawa only lasted 72 hours, right? In the space of 72 hours, that platoon earned a Medal of Honor, a Navy Cross, and a dozen Silver Stars.
Holy cow.
And that's part of our legacy as Scout Snipers. And nobody knows about this. They might have heard of William Hawkins because he earned the medal, right?
Right.
But they don't know about all the rest of it. They don't know the whole backstory that he was a prior enlisted guy who attended Scout Sniper School himself, was actually a formally trained sniper. And that platoon did that, right? I mean, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Tarawa was one of the bloodiest battles of the entire war. It was short, but it was bloody. And, we paid a big price for that piece of lava rock.
Yeah.
And a spit of sand. And
very true.
But that platoon was amazing. And then the very next year, there was what did I do with it?
There couldn't be another unit in the Marine Corps or anywhere that had that many medals that came out of one platoon.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. No, I think there probably were.
You think? Wow.
Well, 468 was pretty close.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
That was
yeah,
it was Jimmy Howard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's Vietnam. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was that recon team. There it's in World War II. I mean, I think in subsequent battles they started making it more difficult to get the higher awards as the war went on, because everybody had now seen a lot of war at that point.
Yeah.
Tarawa was one of the first. It was only the second offensive big campaign. And we had a lot of war left in us. So I'm not saying that they inflated things, but I'll say that there were a lot of other units that displayed equal valor, and there were lots of medals of honor won elsewhere,
right,
and Navy crosses and things like that. So I'm not saying it was the most or the bestest, but it was awesome and it was amazing, and
incredibly impressive.
And nobody in our community knows that was us, that our guys did that. And so that's one of the things that we're going to try to bring to light here. I was talking about the books.
Yeah, that's what I was going to start. You mentioned the book earlier.
Yeah. So we think we got enough material, and we're uncovering stuff all the time.
Right.
We're actually making a trip to St. Louis and Kansas City next month. In June, we're going to go to the National Personnel Records Center.
Yeah.
It's part of the National Archive system there in St. Louis, and we're going to pull probably over 100 records of names of guys that we want to either confirm that they were scout snipers, or we know that they are already, and we just want to learn more about them. And so that'll be a great trip. A bunch of our directors from the board are going to come out. One of our advisors, we have a board of advisors, and Colonel John T. Hoffman is on the board, or on the board of advisors. He's I don't know if you guys have heard his name, but he was the deputy director of Marine Corps History Division back in the day, and he also he was a reserve officer. So in his day job, he served as the chief historian for the United States Army for like 30 years.
No kidding! Holy cow!
Yeah. So in the world of historians, John T. Hoffman's pretty well known.
Yeah,
and he's got some serious credentials. So so he's on our board of advisors, and when it comes time, we're gonna tap him to help us write this series of volumes about the Scout Sniper history.
Absolutely.
So everything that you've read, so 93 confirmed kills, right? The story about Carlos Hathcock.
Right.
We talked earlier, man, about how that was one of the books that made me want to be a Marine. But that's just the beginning of the story. When I went through sniper school in '91, that's all we knew about was Carlos Hathcock in Vietnam, and that's awesome, and it's an amazing piece of history. But it's just the latest part, right? Or it was at the time. We've made a lot more history since then, but So I didn't even get done telling you who the other Medal of Honor recipients were. You had John Henry Pruitt from World War I. You had William Hawkins from World War II, and then we had Dakota Meyer from the War on Terror.
Oh yeah.
So he's a school trained scout sniper. He was not in a sniper platoon when he won the medal, but he was a scout sniper, and
he was on the ETT that I trained up in Okinawa.
Yeah.
It was a interesting ETT, by the way.
Yeah. Interesting. So those are our 3 medal winners. But the books, we think we got enough material to cover, to do like a separate volume for every conflict period.
No kidding. Wow.
So we'll have one volume that's the origin story, World War I, and we'll go all the way through, to the present day, with different volumes. And nobody's ever done that. Every book that you read about scout snipers is a memoir.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's awesome. What we got going on, man. You
guys got a lot going on. And obviously you've tapped into like all the different like Marine Corps History Division and all those guys up there.
Yeah. We've talked to the current director of the History Division, Mr. Lyles, who's the director of the archive. actually gave us a guided tour of the archive last time we were up there.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, super nice people, all of them. They've been very helpful. It's unfortunate that the Marine Corps just doesn't have a lot of archival information in their archive about Scout Snipers. That hardcover book called Scout Sniping that I mentioned that Sergeant LaValle had, and his journal that's with it. There's that collection, and then there's some written stuff by that Canadian captain who was our senior instructor back in World War One. There's some written things from him, and then there was some other. I'm trying to think of what it was. Well, there's the Van Orden report, which is that's more about the rifles than it is about the men. That was pre-World War II evaluation of sniper rifles and stuff like that, and they've got the original of that there in the archive. But there really isn't anything else there. Nobody ever really made it a point, because we've always been either just like a collateral duty or a secondary MOS, if we had an MOS at all.
Right.
And as such, that there was never a concerted effort to retain artifacts and to retain, documents that pertain to the community. And
that's an unfortunate thing, not just for that community, for every single unit that's out there.
Yeah.
So many units, even taking a picture, right? Somebody takes a picture and then nobody writes down who's in the picture, and nobody writes it and keeps it somewhere. So later somebody can identify, years down the road. It just doesn't happen. I mean, you got young Lance Corporals out there. They don't care about that,
Yeah.
So.
Well, back in my day,
yes,
we didn't have cameras.
You were the one.
Yeah, you were the one. But yeah, we didn't have digital cameras back when I was in. If you wanted to take something to the field, you bought one of those little disposable Instamatics or whatever the ones that you had to cock to advance the film, and towards the end of my first tour there, when I was a Scout Sniper, video cameras started being a thing, but they were kind of big, It's not like you could just stuff them in your pocket and run with it.
I think we call those evidence establishments, didn't we?
Yeah, right. And it was probably a good thing too,
It's definitely a good thing.
Leave them on the ship. On the ship.
Yeah. But nowadays, everybody's got a cell phone in their pocket. They got a high definition 4K camera, sitting on their phone, and you can
very true
take pictures and send them, text them around the world in real time.
I looked up William Hawkins, and he's buried in the Punch Bowl in Hawaii.
Yes.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Section B, row 0, site 646.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't have any other family. He had his mom and dad, but I think they passed. I think they couldn't afford to ship him back to the States, is what it was.
Oh, no kidding.
He got interred in 1949, so I think they repatriated him.
Yeah.
The Punch Bowl is a repatriation.
Right. He the way it worked back then at World War I as well is if your family couldn't afford to have you shipped across the ocean, then you were buried overseas in one of the American cemeteries.
That's interesting.
Over in France or over in the Pacific, and you didn't come back to the States unless your family could afford to pay for it, or somebody paid for it for you. But yeah, he was an only child. He didn't have any brothers or sisters or anything like that.
Oh wow!
So yeah, he was actually when he was growing up. I don't know if anybody cares about this, but William Hawkins growing up was kind of a sickly child. He was badly burned as a child. Somebody accidentally spilled boiling water on him, and he got bad burns over a good chunk of his body as a small child. So he had some different physical challenges to overcome, but by the time he was ready to, do his part as a Marine, the dude was an unstoppable force. And I think from the moment he met the recruiter, until he was killed in action, he exhibited a level of leadership ability that was pretty uncommon. To earn a battlefield, to make sergeant before the Guadalcanal campaign really even got underway. he had to have some leadership skills already.
Right.
And then he got a battlefield commission, And,
he had a sweet mustache too, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you have a handlebar?
No, not a handlebar, but
it's a nice little V right at the lip.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You know who that reminds me of? And he hasn't said one word this whole time. Mike down there has got the mustache going on.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
Can you see it?
That's a mustache, yeah. But no,
nice.
Yeah, it was picture on the VA here, and I'm looking at his Service Alpha picture.
Yeah, when he became a lieutenant, I think he trimmed it down a little bit.
Yes, he did.
It's a little thinner, but
you
know who had a righteous mustache was the guy that won the international sniper competition recently, Tyler.
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, they made him shave it.
I just think that Robin Olds was like the preeminent mustache man, the fighter pilot. He had like the curl and everything. Yeah, it was. So that's the gold standard, the DoD.
Yeah, of course. I was in the band, so there was an order that was written, and I don't remember the time frame. I'd have to look it up, but the drum major and the drum major only was the only one was authorized to have a handlebar mustache.
Really?
Yes.
I would have taken advantage of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a drum major that was, I can't remember where he's at, but he was getting orders to Paris Island. And he's like, I don't want to go to Paris Island. They were like, well, you got to go to Paris Island. He's like, okay, fine. So he grew his mustache out, knowing he's going down to the depot where all the drill instructors are, and did the handlebar mustache, right?
Yeah.
So he gets down there, and the whole command is like, like you can't do that. You got to shave it off. And he's like, no, it says it right here. I'm allowed.
It says in the order.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so they got mad, and they were like, well, you can't be here if you're going to have the mustache. And he goes, okay, well, send me away. And they sent him somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Funny. That's funny. You know what? If you want to see somebody that had a righteous mustache, remember I was mentioning about Chief Gunner Henry Pearson Crow that was running that Scout Sniper School for 8th Marines back in 1941. So he's an interesting story too. He wasn't really a Scout Sniper, but he was training Scout Snipers, and he was a gunner, right? So we were talking about that earlier. Gunners are the infantry weapons guys. Yeah. And so this was an old school gunner from the 30s. He came up through the ranks, made it to gunnery sergeant, and then became a gunner. And then he became a chief gunner in 1941. And that was the senior gunner rank, was chief gunner. Oh, and that was like late 1941. 6 months later, when they're on Guadalcanal, he ends up getting a battlefield commission. And by the time Guadalcanal is done, he's a lieutenant colonel commanding a battalion.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So really cool story. So he Navy Cross, Silver Star, Purple Hearts, whole 9 yards, right? So this dude's a badass, right? Colonel, retired Colonel Henry Pearson Crow. Got to look him up. Crow, it's with an E, Crowe.
Okay.
You should Google him. And if you look him up, there's like a Naval Institute site or something that has a little bio on him. Mm-hmm. The picture of him in there, he's in his alphas. He's a colonel, and he's got all his fruit salad,
Oh my God. It's a propeller.
Yeah. He's got this chicken grin on his face, and he's got this mustache that just comes out, and it's like, that's awesome. Right. And
it looks like someone drew it on him on the picture.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Well, what I didn't know when I first saw the picture, because that picture is black and white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it turns out he has red hair. So
no kidding.
Yeah. So like just blaze red. And so just imagine that with blaze red hair. And
wow.
This big old mustache and the big gap in his teeth, and the whole 9 yards.
That's cool.
That dude's a character.
Well, so Navy Cross, Silver Star, Legion of Merit with V, Bronze Star × 4, Purple Heart 2, Puck ×4, Good Contact ×2, whatever.
Yeah.
Going through his, World War I victory, Marine Corps Expeditionary, 2nd Dominican Campaign, 2nd Nicaraguan Campaign, China Service, Armed Defense Service Medal, American Campaign, World War II victory, NDSM, Korean Service with Tour, 4 ×4, the British Distinguished Service Cross, the United Nations Service Medal. So just I had to wake this guy up because
he's awesome, man. He's one of those characters. That's another thing about our history with Scout Snipers is that and any Scout Sniper will acknowledge this is we couldn't do what we do or be as effective as we have been without the active involvement and a lot of dedication from some other communities around us. So not just the infantry that we're supporting, but them, but the shooting community, the distinguished shooters, from the Marine Corps have resurrected Scout Snipers every time. I mean, look at Vietnam. You had Eric England, you had Carlos Hathcock. You had all these different guys that were high-level competitive shooters that helped bring back the program. Jim Land was a competitive shooter, and helped bring back the sniper program for Vietnam. But same thing with Henry Pearson Crowe. Henry Crowe was a competitive shooter in the 30s.
Wow. He was also an actor, by the way.
Yeah. So in between banana wars, he was competing. And so the man knew how to handle a rifle. And,
he also was in 2 movies, by the way, too.
Yeah.
I Was a Male War Bride is my favorite title off his IMDb page.
Yeah.
What is it? You said?
That's pretty funny.
I Was a Male War Bride, and then Sands of Iwo Jima. So,
yeah, he was in the Sands of Iwo Jima. A lot of active duty Marines were in that movie.
That's a fantastic movie. That's one of my favorites. In fact, you know what my favorite scene is in that is when he goes back to the chick's house and that he picked up at the bar or whatever, and then the baby's in the other room, and he goes in and picks up the baby and stuff, and she comes back and he's like, here's all the money I have, and then he leaves, and then of course he bites the bullet at that point at the end. But that's my favorite scene in that whole movie.
Yeah, there's some good ones, man. I like all the John Wayne movies from the era. Flying Leathernecks, Sands of Iwo Jima.
Oh yeah. What's the Navy one? There's a Navy.
There's a CB.
The Sand Pebbles.
Yeah, the CBs.
Yeah.
What was the other?
The Sand Pebbles.
Yeah,
the Sand Pebbles. I don't remember that one. There's a lot of good ones back then. A lot of good war movies.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
No.
Good.
No, they don't. Oh, Jess.
Anyway.
Well, hey,
man, I'm glad you guys brought me on, and I'm happy for the opportunity to talk a little bit about history and stuff like that, and love the opportunity to share about the Scout Sniper War Memorial. I think
absolutely, it's important.
Yeah, it is. It's important to me. It's important to a whole community of Marines, and more importantly, I think it's important to our posterity. That we tell the whole story.
Absolutely.
Some of these stories that I shared with you are things that we didn't know. I mean, I know guys that, I was only a Scout Sniper for about a minute back in the early 90s. I know guys that served most of their career as a Scout Sniper, taught at the schoolhouse, and they didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Wow.
And they didn't know about World War I. They didn't know about World War II. They didn't know some of these personal stories of these heroes that
right.
Set the stage and created the persona or the mystique of the Marine Scout Sniper, and for all those Marine leaders, particularly the senior leaders, that think that the time of the Marine Scout Sniper has passed. I'll remind you that we're proud of being Scout Snipers, but we're ultimately proud of being a Marine. That's why our organization is not just called the Scout Sniper Foundation. It's the Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation.
Right.
And we want to put our memorial up there, right outside our National Museum as Marines, because it's a team. You got gunners like Henry Pearson Crowe. You got modern gunners like Gunner Mick Skinta and Gunner Alex Carlson and Gunner Alex Carrillo and Keith Eggers, and gunners that you probably will never know their names, that have all helped to grow and add to the laurels that is the Scout Sniper story.
Right.
But then you've also got guys that weren't even infantry. You got the 2112 armorers that built our rifles.
Right.
Those guys at Quantico at what used to be the RTE shop and is now PWS. You got the shooting teams there at Quantico, Weapons Training Battalion, and all the other Marines, just basic Marines everywhere, who know that somewhere deep in their heart they know that having a Scout Sniper is a good thing, and they've advocated for us, and they've helped us along the way and trained us and enabled us, and it's not just a two-man team with their rifles and their radio. It's the whole team,
right.
And we recognize that, and I think that's something that the senior leadership of the Marine Corps would do well to understand, that we understand that, and that we're proud of that. We're proud of that synergy and that teamwork that has occurred for over a century,
right.
across MOSs, across different occupational fields. Carlos Hathcock wasn't even a grunt when he went to Vietnam. He was an MP,
No kidding.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But is anybody going to say he's not one of us?
Yeah,
of course
that's
not.
true. Yeah.
Of course not.
I'd love to watch.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of people upset if somebody said that, though,
Yeah. Well, he became a grunt. I think he was, I think he may have been given the 0311 MOS, what do you call it? OJT or whatever. But yeah, he was an MP, and never went to infantry school that I'm aware of.
Wow.
So, but
I think he kind of earned that the hard way.
Yeah, exactly. And there's
say that.
Yeah.
The hard way.
Yeah, there's
buddy. Wow.
There's a
Let
guy
that
whose
one go.
name I just want to say, Billy Duncan. You guys ever heard of Billy Duncan? He's a retired Marine colonel, but in the Korean War, he was a young sergeant with 5th Marines. And he was a sniper. He was a Scout Sniper trained in the field by 5th Marines in Korea. And he's got a book. It's called A Warrior's Walk. Pretty good read. It's funny, though, because he doesn't talk about being a Scout Sniper at all. I mean, he mentions it, and then he just moves on.
Really?
But, yeah.
Wow.
But he's a great guy. He's a great Marine. He earned a Silver Star as a battalion commander in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
After he was commissioned. So
yeah,
pretty interesting story with him. But there's a lot of those stories out there, man.
Yeah, it's impressive, and I'm glad that I was able to be a part of an organization that had heroes like that. Being part of the Marine Corps, part of the military, to have just to say, hey, I was a part of it, even though it's a small part, it's still a part. So I'm just lucky to have that.
Yeah, we're all just dust in the wind, right?
That's right.
We're all specks or spokes in the great wheel.
Yeah,
however you want to look at it, but yeah, the wheel doesn't work without its spokes, So
yeah.
But we could trace that line back to all the way back. And I think that's what we kind of forget. And I talk to the old guys, and I talk to guys in the interwar period too. It's like, you might think that you didn't have a part to this play, but without you somewhere in the 80s, especially, or the early 90s, we trace our way all the way back to 1775. You're part of this unbroken line. So never discount your service.
Yeah.
Good point.
Hey, I want to put a plug in, if I could, for
Go
a completely different, completely separate thing.
Yeah.
So the Ton Tavern, or the Ton Legacy Foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're rebuilding Ton Tavern in Philadelphia. Right. They need our help. If you're not part of the 1775 Club, go on their website and look it up and join.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the ton.org.
It is. I'm
pretty
about
sure
to
that's
tell
what it
you,
was.
just to make sure. Yeah, the ton.org. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
The
There we go.
ton.org.
For everybody out there, the ton.
Yeah, if you're
.org.
a Marine, if you're associated with Marines, if you had a kid that's a Marine, if you have a family member that's a Marine, you need to be a 1775 club member at the ton.
And you can also gift them, by the way, because we did that for our we did that for our birthday last year. As we silent auction off a 1775 club.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, I've been up in Philly for the Marine Corps birthday the last couple of years, and
what a celebration last year they had. That's what I saw. That's
awesome,
what I heard, at least.
Whole block party.
Yeah,
they block off the whole block around the site where it's going to be, and have a great lineup of entertainment and stuff. They had the drum and bugle corps. Part of it came out.
Nice.
Did a little performance the year before last. But yeah, and so that's the place to be for the birthday.
Yeah.
But you know, if I can't remember what they said, I want to say it was like if 20% of living Marines joined the 1775 club, maybe the number's different. I want to say it was like 20%.
Right.
Then they would have the whole thing paid for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I believe that for sure.
And so the 1775 club is committing to $17.75 a month for the year. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how hard is that? You get a cool T-shirt, get a cool coin that gets you a free beer when the ton opens.
Yeah.
And you get to be part of history. So
I think that coin's for life, by the way, isn't it?
I don't know. I think it might be.
You're talking beer for life? I don't know about that.
I don't think so. I thought it was just just for a free beer when they open.
I think that's.
I don't want to overpromise.
I would say just let's start selling this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as soon as everybody gets it back and they're like, wait a minute, they said.
Yeah, they said. Well, let's see. Actually, I'm on their website now. So the 1775 Club, it's a monthly donation of $17.75, or you can do the whole thing, one-time donation of $213. And you will get. Well, it doesn't say what you get. Let me go back to where it says what you get.
You present your coin between 5 and 6, 17 and 1800 to receive a 12-ounce ton of ale for a non-alcoholic beverage for 75 cents. I'll take that.
Yeah, here you go. Month 1, you get your official 1775 Club T-shirt. Month 3, you get your club member certificate. And then month 12, you get your coin mailed to you. And once the ton is open, you present your coin between 1700 and 1800 to receive the 12-ounce ton ale. Yeah, for 75 cents. Okay, that's what it is. Got it.
I mean, it's still not bad.
That's still
75 cents for a drink that's a good deal nowadays.
It's nearly free beer. So
basically, yeah.
In Philadelphia, that is pretty much free beer.
It is, yeah. It's an expensive town.
Statement.
But,
shoot, man.
Yeah, man. Well,
Tim, thanks for coming on and doing this, sharing everything, and telling us some incredible history. I learned a lot tonight, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, brother. Mind if I put in one last plug for some fundraising opportunities?
Plug away, man. Plug away.
So, one last time, we got these cartridge flasks that are limited edition, custom made for $99.95 that you can buy on our website. We have the custom M48-6 sniper rifle decanters that you can pre-purchase on our website right now.
There's a limited amount of those, right?
Yep, limited amount. There will only be 753 released to the public. The remainder that we're making are going to be held back for scout snipers only.
Okay.
And they'll only be that number range, 762, will only be sold to scout snipers. 763 up to 1,500, which is there's 753 of them. That's all that will be released to the public.
Gotcha.
And of course, we got commemorative bricks. If you wanted to honor, say a unit that you served in, once you guys want to get together and honor that time in service, or if a family member, those bricks will be placed at the site of the memorial. We're selling those on our website. Of course, we got the raffle going on for $20 a ticket African Safari or an M1 Garand rifle. So a couple of really awesome prizes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, scoutsniperheritage.org. Go check it out and follow us on our socials and see what we're up to. And if you are a Scout Sniper and you want to get involved, call me, man. My number is 910-546-6046. Got no problem giving my number out. And I hope to hear from some of you out there. Particularly with regards to researching the history of our community. Even guys that served in the War on Terror have stories that we haven't heard yet, and know of individual Marines that need to be talked about and remembered.
Absolutely.
And we want to hear those stories.
Yeah. Hey, and you know this already. I've talked to you about it, but the importance of archiving these stories, and that's one of my nonprofit. This whole reason for it is let's archive the stories, and it doesn't have to be me. I don't care who it is, but tell your story to somebody. Right, that's the important part, and then make sure that somebody sends it to be archived. That way, it's there for future generations, and I think that's what we miss. Or missed when we look back on our history, because so many things didn't get written down. So many things didn't get passed along. Just think of the stories that we do know. And then, there's going to be more stories that we don't know. So, and no matter what you did, it doesn't matter if you were, cook or you were infantry or whatever, it doesn't matter. Get your story told, get it archived.
Yep.
It's important.
It is, absolutely. It's one of the reasons that our country is facing some of the societal issues that we're facing is because a lot of the sacrifice and the reasons why people willingly sacrificed are not talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about it. The guys who do things, the man in the arena, that whole speech,
right?
The guys who do typically don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't talk about it, how are people going to know about it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
at some point, you owe it to your kids and your grandkids and future generations to sit down and put it on the record, what you did and why you did it. And, it doesn't have to get too terribly, personal about,
right.
You got idiots that are, how many people did you kill in the war?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it's about. It's about telling your story the way you want it told.
Yeah, that's the ticket right there. The way you want people to hear it.
Yeah.
And I always tell everybody, it's your story. Like if you come on mine, it's your story. I don't know anything about it. So whatever you say is your story and your words. I'm along for the ride. If there's something you don't want to talk about, then don't bring it up. That's the easiest thing. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But I have found that individuals that come on and they start the conversation, they will eventually, hold on, you stop. I'm recording. Sorry. They will eventually open up a little bit more and share a little bit more. And it's just like if you're with your buddies or whatever at a campfire, you're going to open up and you're going to start talking.
Yeah. Be nice if we could all just crack a beer, here on video, but it doesn't taste the same. So,
well, I don't know if you know, but I may have.
Oh, I see how you are. Yeah, all right. I'll be better.
I should have mentioned that earlier when we had our deal, but I didn't. So that's my bust on that.
Well, I should have had this.
You should have filled that up,
That's
and
it.
then
That's
yeah.
Demonstration model.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a demo. So
yeah.
I drag it around with me everywhere I go.
Never been used before, right?
No, it actually has not. I put water in it just to make sure it wouldn't leak. But
oh yeah,
yeah. No, she's solid, man. That thing weighs 16.5 pounds, dude.
Are you serious?
16.5 pounds of solid cast stainless steel and glass.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you think you know somebody that's the guy that has everything, he doesn't have one of these.
That's right.
So, I'm telling you.
This
is awesome. So
man, and now did you say how much that was?
$998.95.
$998.95. Okay.
And again, it's not just this. It comes in the custom case with the custom cut
which
foam.
is a Pelican case.
Yep, Pelican style case.
It's about $200 a pop anyway.
Yeah, and it's got the coin and the pin badges that are all custom made. Comes with a certificate of authenticity. Comes with a custom funnel that screws onto the thing to refill it, so you get a nice clean refill. Comes with a custom made torque wrench. That's the word I was looking for. To be able to just disassemble it for cleaning, put it back together, and all that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very, very cool looking kit. You know what? Hang on, let me just show you the whole thing since I'm sitting here.
Sell it, man. Come on.
I'm gonna sell
Get in on it.
It's so big, and my
Hold on, I'm gonna
behind my desk is so small.
I'm gonna put you up on the big screen here. Hold on. So everybody can see it.
So
Oh wow.
Let's so there you go. So there's the case, and there's the hole for the bottle
Accessories,
and you see the coin.
Yeah, that's
pin
a
badges.
good size coin.
Yeah, it's big. It's a 3-inch coin, and then there's the custom funnel and the wrench to disassemble it. And so yeah, it's very cool. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That's a good deal.
Yeah,
you know? I think everybody should go buy one. Until they run out, and then you're out of luck. But
yeah, there will only ever be as many as we're making. We're making 1,500, and that's it. And there's never been anything like it ever. Nobody's ever put a Marine Corps sniper rifle in a bottle.
Yeah,
certainly not an accurate depiction of one that actually is built off a laser scan of the actual rifle.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, for everybody out there, man, don't forget scoutsniperheritage.org. And if you're out there, you were a scout sniper, you got stories to tell, you got anything like that, scoutsniper.org, or you can reach out directly to Tim. But they want to know. They want to know the history. They want to be able to get all that stuff. So please reach out. Anything else that I'm missing, Tim?
Nope. I think we covered it all, man. We beat that horse to death.
Well, hey, again, thanks for coming on and doing this. It was an awesome conversation. I had a blast. Jess, you're the only one that was able to stick through the whole thing. But it's all good. You made it, so it's good, right?
I would miss it.
Yeah, the other guys are weak sauce.
There you go. They're weak sauce. I know Mark didn't come on tonight, but he gave us a thumbs up earlier. Mark O'Loughlin. So anyways, well, hey, with that, I'll go ahead and close this out. Same as before, Tim, don't hang up on me. Okay. But to everybody out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some good resources. I know we were supposed to do the thing, but we're not going to do it, Jess. Sorry. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. Tim cares about you. Jess cares about you. The whole crew cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need a helping hand, please give it to them. All right. One last time. Thank you very much, Tim. Jess, thanks for hanging out. To the crew that just wasn't able to stick it out the whole time. All good. I love you. I don't care what Jess says about you. And to everybody out there, stay motivated and change your socks.
Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.